The Avatar had a lot of interesting and powerful characters, but while it was Aang's destiny to defeat the Fire Lord, we've arranged other characters that would have done the job even a bit better than Aang. So here are some characters that would have taken out the Fire Lord. Through the series, we found many characters display exceptional bendings and a real show of power, strength, and skill. And frankly, Aang had to learn from some of these elite benders. Recall a man who once took down a fire settlement and took back his kingdom single-handedly? That's right, King Bumi. Honestly, King Bumi was the greatest earthbender in the series, while some folks might have reservations about that comment. However, one thing everyone would agree on is the ridiculous power and skill the King of Omashu possessed. As mentioned earlier, one of his greatest feats was when he took back his kingdom single-handedly by defeating the Fire Nation army. But trust me, that was no child's play. Although he most likely took it to be one as he enjoyed every bit of it with a grin, his exceptional earthbending, coupled with his psycho laughter, was a joy to watch in the show, with his really good bending and combat techniques and wisdom. During the early years of Aang's earthbending quest, he did seek teachings and mentorship from Bumi. As a result, we believe he most likely would have been able to take down the Fire Lord if he wanted to. Of course, he might not have done it like Aang. Still, he definitely would have given the Fire Lord a beating with his special earthbending technique. When speaking about general bending, one that uniquely stands out is the lightning bending, which is sort of a variant of firebending. However, that brings another powerful contender to mind. No one else but the Fire Lord's fiery princess. Feel free to take that literally. Aang was one of the few folks who had a real taste of Azula's villainous axe and lots of lightning strikes. Remember the one that almost took Aang's life? Well, she most times always came close and slightly superior in every duel she had with the Avatar. It is most fitting to say that she was a thorn in Aang's flesh. One of her most interesting qualities was her persistence and her wicked drive. Throughout the series, she was pretty much the only one who could perfectly and properly use lightning. With all of these qualities coupled with her ruthlessness, she could have had a real chance to take down the Fire Lord. Azula was a ruthless character who would not even spare her brother in a fight. Give her some credit. Talking about her brother, the next character that comes to mind is Zuko. It's looking like some reunion here. Zuko started the beginning of the series by playing a villain. But like everyone, there is usually a good side in all of us. His character quickly developed and earned redemption. He went from chasing down Aang to fighting with him, the perfect definition of flipping switches. While Zuko spent most of his life learning and relearning, he undoubtedly became well trained. He developed his firebending skills and mastered controlling lightning from his uncle. Recall that Zuko once faced off with his dad during the Day of the Black Sun when the firebending ceased. The two battled with swords, and Zuko had the Fire Lord at his mercy at one point, but he decided it wasn't his fate to do so. So if that isn't enough to get him on the list, what can? Zuko became a real help to Aang's quest, and at one point he even helped teach Aang the firebending. His transformation from a villain into a hero is a life lesson to everyone. Well, sometimes it's the contrary. Some characters often go from heroes to villains, as in the case of Hama, which also is the next character that would have stood a chance against the Fire Lord. Hama played the antagonist in the most horrific scenes in the series. Hama was an old former Water Tribe woman who invented and mastered bloodbending, which was like a variant of waterbending. Hama shared her sad story and how she got to develop the bending. Hama was captured by the Fire Nation, and to escape, she began her bloodbending style. She could bend the water inside the internal organs of humans and even animals. As a result, she can control anyone to do whatever she wanted. That was such a powerful skill. But Hama couldn't handle the skill. She used it to control people for selfish reasons. She tried to teach and mentor Katara to learn the way, but she was reluctant. Her power reaches its peak at a full moon. No doubt this would have been a potential skill in taking down the Fire Lord. However, she definitely stands a chance. While benders are powerful characters, a non-bender surprisingly makes a list. As we know, Ty Lee possesses no special bending, so how's she even in the conversation? Ty Lee could actually be the most cheerful character in the series, and one of the possessors of the most deadly skill. It wasn't bending, it was her understanding of the human body. And nah, she wasn't a doctor. Ty Lee could identify the pressure points of people's bodies. This means she could utterly render even the most built and fit individuals limbless in a fight. Right, it was that good. Ty Lee used to be Princess Azula's best friend and even joined in the chasing down of the Avatar at some point. She could have dealt much damage to the Fire Lord with such powerful skills and good speed. And really, the ability to render the limbs powerless means she is quite immune to bending prowess. Another character that pops up in this conversation is Toph. To be fair, it was gonna be tough to leave her off the list. Toph is simply a natural and very gifted earthbender. Although she was blind from birth, Toph was able to train her senses to be even sharper than those with sight. Toph was an exceptional bender that learned earthbending from childhood. She wandered away one day and lived with the badger moles, who were the first earthbenders. Toph was a great tutor to Aang, and as her name sounds, she was tough. She was one of the first people in the series to try out metal bending. Toph against the Fire Lord isn't exactly the fight people would envision, but would most likely be a tough one for the Fire Lord. Next, most characters may not have been convincing enough for the job. One character most are convinced could take down the Fire Lord is his brother Iroh. Iroh, after Aang, was arguably the strongest in the series. He does everything so well and has mastered his bendings perfectly. Iroh was once a general of the Fire Nation army, but had a rethink. After he lost his sons, he went on a sort of pilgrimage, where he found out how terrible the Fire Nation was treating other nations. Iroh learned his bending from the dragons, who were the masters of firebending. His bending was flawless. He could control lightning and fiercely breathe fire. So wild. Iroh was a great and wise man and even played a huge role in making Zuko a better man. No doubt he could have convincingly taken down his brother, the Fire Lord. The only reason he didn't do it was the historical implications of his action. He was bothered he would be seen to have done it out of greed. Regardless, that would have been a fight we all anticipated. The scene where he stunned the Fire Nation guards when he broke out of jail remains fresh. Another character that comes to mind is Katara. Katara was a great waterbender who could also bend blood. However, unlike Hama, she thinks it's morally wrong to practice such. Although Katara bloodbended a Fire Nation soldier, Katara could pass as the most passionate character in the series. She taught Aang waterbending and acted as the mother of the group. Plus, we can't skip the part where the love thing happened. Well, had Katara been given the opportunity, she could stand a chance against the Fire Lord, as she can be dangerous when she needs to. Recall what she did to the soldier that took her mother away. That's just a little of what she could do when an emotional need arises. Bringing this to context, she could probably do this to the Fire Lord. Next is an unlikely character that could take down the Fire Lord, the Combustion Man. Surprised he's on the list? Well, not at all. As he was rightly named by Sokka and his friends, the Combustion Man could shoot out explosions from his forehead. The Combustion Man made his appearance in Season 3 when he was hired by Prince Zuko to take down the Avatar. The Combustion Man terrorized Aang and company for days. He was so powerful that they hid anytime he attacked. None of them could really face off with him, which shows how scared they were about him. Who wouldn't be scared of a dude with an eye on his head? He was an assassin who really didn't have loyalties. If someone offered him a good price to take down the Fire Lord, pretty sure he could have been successful at it. The only concern could be his technicalities. It's pretty cool to shoot sparks from his forehead, but from his attacks from Aang and friends, obviously Mr. Sparky Boom Boom wasn't so technical. However, he definitely stands a chance against the Fire Lord. That'll be all for today. Do you think of any other characters we left out? Do well to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.